Don't worry about the headset, it'll make sense in a second. Hit it! Hello Tube Dwellers and welcome. I'm the Arcadean and this is Mabinogi Duel. In today's video we are looking at the Belle of the Blaze Blue Ball, new number 13. She's been making waves in the meta recently, and with good reason. She's one of those very refreshing cards that is powerful without being overpowered. So, let's take a look at the deck and see how it runs. Alright, to begin at the beginning, you can see that we are running the Flying Sword. A decent one-cost light creature in its own right, but very nice when partnered with new number 13. Next, we have the Book of Knowledge. Number 13 should really be played at level 2 or 3 rather than level 1, so Book of Knowledge is here to help us ramp up to level 2 as quickly as we can. Next we have the Holy Missile, standard one-cost removal spell, very useful against darkness, which is very common in the meta. Next up is the Skeleton, one-cost, solid creature to play. We don't bring him out very often, but he's useful when we require a creature in the early game. If you're going up against some sort of aggro deck or something that demands a creature answer, you've got the Skeleton ready to go. Next up is the Arrow of Revenge. This is here because we don't have that many high HP, high attack value creatures. We can't guarantee that we're going to get a lot of creature damage off every turn, so the Arrow of Revenge is here to help us out with the extra chip damage. Next is Turn to Frog, very, very useful transformation card to deal with any of those large creatures that you may be struggling against. You could replace this with Mukro Algesco if you wanted something that was untargeted to deal with, say, Jane, for example. But either way, it'll be fine, just as long as you have a transformation card in there to deal with those nasty creatures. Next up is Surprise Attack, low-cost removal spell. You've got to have those in your deck. No surprises there. Then new number 13, very powerful creature, as I say, without being overpowered. Use her to good advantage, but be aware that players will be sort of prioritizing taking her out. So make sure that you don't just throw her out as your sole win condition. Next we have Ice Spear, AoE removal spell. You've got to have at least one of those in your deck, and Ice Spear is a very solid choice. Next up we have Segi to deal with the large attack value creatures that may be causing us some trouble, as well as tricksy little things like bunnies that you may come up against. Up next, we have Dark Capture, again to get rid of, neutralize, or bring to our side of the field to utilize the abilities of any irritating creature that your opponent may play. Also useful as a counter capture if your opponent decides to capture one of your own cards and you really want it back. And finally, we have Dark Angel Orperia -1. Always go for the -1 variance because you're after her ability, not her stats. Angel Orperia is here to bring out the number 13. If you play Angel Orperia, you've got Orperia out onto the field. She brings number 13 out onto the field. If 13 lands in the right spot, then 13 will summon a sword into the middle. So for the cost of a single card, you've managed to bring 3 creatures out onto the field, and that will cause your opponent some difficulties. So that's the deck. Let's jump into a fight and see how it goes. Okay, first fight against 6th Dan PvP. Okay, this should be interesting then. Using the Cheshire hero. Alright. This player's been climbing the mastery ranks, so should give us a very good first battle with this deck. Alright, so we started first and we have nothing to drop, so let's just charge up. Hopefully she won't play anything. Unfortunately she did, but it's the elephant, so we can take that damage. We'll play the Book of Knowledge, get ourselves ready to ramp up to 2. She charges up, just taking the opportunity to get the hit off, get her own XP up. We'll level up to 2, no doubt she'll follow suit. Her elephant hits us, which will give her the XP advantage and a slight HP advantage. So we'll play number 13 to block the elephant and we'll charge up. She does have enough for removal spells, so we'll see if she uses one. And she does, the Flame Emission. Okay, it's a 5 cost, so it's a very expensive counter to number 13. So that's unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. Especially since we do have enough resources to summon Orperia. Let's take the advantage of that fact and really push our opponent. 13 was fortunately summoned in one of the 3 slots, which will allow her to summon the Flying Sword. So, let's see what our opponent decides to go with now. She's got 3 creatures out onto the field, and we've removed what I assume is her only AoE, as most players only carry 1. So she's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Discards into Darkness. Alright. For capture. Okay, and brings 13 over to her side of the field. We don't really care about that. 13's not going to do anything for our opponent because the elephant's in the middle of the slot anyway. So we will charge up. No reason not to. We have sort of the damage advantage, and we don't want our opponent to gain the resource advantage over us. Holy Missile comes out and takes out Orperia. Again, we're not too worried about that. The elephant just hits into the Flying Sword. No big deal. We will level up and charge, I think. That is going to allow number 13 to summon a Flying Sword of her very own. But it's more important at this point that we conserve our resources, see what our opponent is going to do. If she decides, for example, to summon a lot of creatures, then the Ice Spear is a good idea. She chooses not to, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's no big deal. The Flying Sword is out, but it makes no difference to us because our Flying Sword is going to kill it anyway. Now, the question is, do we want to remove number 13? And I think we do. This is going to force our opponent to do something about the Flying Sword. It also puts number 13 into our grave so that our Orperia is ready to summon her at any moment. Oh, Taylor Miss Shelley comes out. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so Shelley comes out and summons a zombie. That's unpleasant. That's 13 damage she has on the board if we don't counter it. So we're going to have to. Now, we could use Ice Spears and surprise attacks and things like that, but I think it'll be smarter probably to go with Seigi. So let's do that. Seigi now can't be killed by anything that's damage-based, and she doesn't look like she's carrying Drag to Hells. So we'll drop Seigi. Seigi will deal with Taylor Miss Shelley, and we will just charge up. Our opponent's doing well for resources, so we got to play defensively. Okay, so she's thinking about it. Charges up into darkness, charges up into light, and charges into gold. Excellent, good. So the jumbled zombie gets the attack off, but we're not too worried about that. Seigi transforms the Taylor, so his attack will definitely go through. We'll just charge up, and again, and let's do it one more time. There we go. We're not too worried about that jumbled zombie. He only has 2 HP. So if our opponent summons more creatures, then we can just wipe out the field with an Ice Spear. Also, we are doing pretty well for offense and HP, so we're not too worried about the jumbled zombies' damage coming out. Okay, our opponent is also playing very defensively. That's unfortunate for us, but so it goes. So we'll remove this jumbled zombie, and that way we take a strong HP lead here. Charge up a couple more times. Doing very well for Mana and Darkness, not so well for Light. Oh well. Our Orperia is ready to go, our Capture is ready to go, our Ice Spear is ready to go. Turn to Frog, and honestly, if our opponent doesn't stop Seigi now, block him effectively, we win anyway, because Seigi plus the Arrow of Revenge is going to deal fatal damage. So let's see if she can stop Seigi. Interesting. Okay, Shadow Vampire comes out. Drains his HP. Magic Missile comes out. Okay, so she did manage to kill Seigi, and she's got the Shadow Vampire out. At this point, we should probably just play Orperia, I think. We don't really have any answers that would give us board advantage. So Orperia comes out. Number 13 is summoned into a good slot, which is very helpful for us. And we'll just charge up here. I mean, there's options that we have, you know, turn to frogs and things like that, but there's not really much point. She can't deal fatal even with that Shadow Vampire's damage. So provided even one of our attacks gets off, we win. Now, that's unfortunate. If she damages the Orperia even slightly, then we're in a bit more trouble. If she doesn't damage or kill the Orperia now, then we win. So she charges and she charges. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so we win. Whew. Okay, we drop the capture onto the Shadow Vampire to get him out of the way. We discard the skeleton into the grave to charge up our Arrow of Revenge, fire off the arrow, taking her down to 6 HP, and Orperia lands the finishing blow. Good game, good game. Against a 6th Dan. Always fun. New logo powers, activate! And that was the Immortal 13. A versatile deck and a very fun one to play as well. So if you'd like to copy it directly into your game, there's the share code up in the top right hand corner as always. So that's it for this video, and that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to all the Arcanauts who have subscribed so far. Until next time, have fun and good luck.